how we change their impact. Right? I got the list. Am I prepared these? Which one do you want best?
Hey, how's it going? Okay.
And I love your dress for success, right?
Yes,
Sounds
ma'am.
good. Yeah, that's fine. And there should be some refreshments in the band room if you want some. I've heard that some of the students have found those, so I'm not so sure how many are left.
Okay, so thank you all for being here at the senior thesis presentations. So up next, we have Jada Moss, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the importance of e-learning. So Jada, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and take it over.
So imagine a high-functioning autistic boy who loves going to school, who loves attending his classes, and who loves to learn. But that same child is incapable of learning in his current school environment. He prefers a smaller school setting, but the smaller classes are not according to his skill level. Therefore, he goes home every day telling his mom of his aggravation, his frustration, the feeling that the current education system is not for him. So his mom comes with this plan, online learning. Specifically using Khan Academy, she is able to teach her son new subjects. He's able to improve on the subjects he was originally struggling in, and overall increase his grade average. So by using e-learning, this boy was able to grow academically, which is why I believe there should be an increase in the amount of e-learning. Because one, it provides access to those who do not have an access to an education. Two, it provides a way for people to learn new subjects or revisit old subjects they once forgot. And then three, in the case of this young boy, e-learning provided a way for him to prove an area in which he was struggling. So e-learning, also known as online learning, is generally described as learning utilizing electronic technologies to access educational curriculum outside of a traditional classroom. It is commonly used by students enrolled in school as a way to improve in subjects they are currently studying, but it's also used by people no longer in school as a way to relearn old subjects or tackle new ones. Businesses occasionally use it as a way to train new employees, and some college students use it as a way to strengthen their skills in specific areas. Likewise, people who do not have access to a traditional education may use e-learning as a way to teach themselves various subjects. No matter where people live, what language they speak, or their intentions in learning, e-learning can be used in a way that's beneficial. The notion of e-learning is believed to have begun in the early 1950s, when a similar concept was introduced through a device known as the teaching machine. B.F. Skinner, a Harvard professor and psychologist, created the teaching machine with the intention of developing a new learning method. The machine enables schools to administer program instruction to their students. And although the invention was called a machine, it was mainly a wooden box with windows and discs that had questions written on them. A student would slide the disc into a question display. They would then write an answer to the question on the paper attached to the machine, and spin the disc again to see if their answer is correct. Once the correct answer is revealed, the student is not able to change his or her original answer. This concept of students being given questions by a machine to answer and naturally learn in the process has been continued throughout the years because of technology and numerous e-learning platforms. Two e-learning platforms in which this technique is visible is iExcel and Khan Academy. iExcel, just like Khan Academy, is an e-learning website that covers various academic subjects, such as science, mathematics, language arts, and social studies. With iExcel, students are able to practice any one of those skills and over time master it. Similar to the teaching machine, iExcel displays a question and asks the student to type in a response. If the student types in the answer correctly, he or she receives a compliment and points added towards their mastery of a particular skill. However, just like the teaching machine, if the student gets the answer wrong, he or she will be shown the correct answer but is unable to change the previous answer, leading to a loss of points going towards the mastery of that particular subject. Today, the teaching machine is a common method, an effective method of learning due to the immense use of technology. A majority of the world's population has access to a technological device. Whether a phone, laptop, computer, or tablet, many people also have access to the internet. And if a person has access to a technological device, and the internet, they have access to e-learning. Conducted studies have proven that e-learning is more beneficial compared to traditional learning for multiple reasons. One study observed that students who took all or part of their classes online performed better on average than those taking the same course through traditional face-to-face instruction. Based on this study, e-learning is a better way for students to learn new course materials compared to learning in a traditional classroom environment. The same study also concluded that online learners spent more time on task than students in the face-to-face condition and found a greater benefit for online learning. There are many reasons why certain individuals do not perform better in a traditional classroom. These reasons could be the quality of the education they are receiving, their ability to adapt to a classroom setting, or their general access to an education. Many people who have traditional access to an education are used to being able to walk from their home or take the bus directly to school. However, there are some children who do not have the luxuries of buses and schools close to their home. These children have to take dangerous journeys simply to get to school. Take, for instance, the children living in North India's Himalayan mountains. They attend traditional boarding schools far away from their homes, but have to come home every winter to spend the holidays with their families. Imagine walking over an icy terrain and dealing with wintertime blizzards to simply reach a family and a home. Known as the Frozen Highway, the route's breathtaking beauty, challenging conditions, and unpredictability attracts hordes of hardy international adventurers. But the children traveling the mountain paths don't want to test their great endurance. They just want to get back to school. These children will do anything to receive an education, including risking their lives. Not every child has the easiest access to education. Some have to work hard for it. E-learning could change that by providing easier access for children to obtain an education. If they used e-learning, they would not have to travel along a dangerous road to simply get to school. They would have access to an education right at home. Another reason some children do not have access to education is finances. Because if truth be told, a good education can be expensive. Yes, there are traditional public schools set up by the government that provide a free education, but sometimes parents want more than just a general education for their children. Take, for instance, if a parent wants an education centered around a specific religion. They will look for a private religious school to send their children to. And these schools can cost more if the student does not receive a scholarship to attend. The same goes if a parent is looking for a school geared towards one of the academic subjects, such as a school geared towards music or a school geared towards science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM. Education becomes even more expensive when looking for a school with a particular focus, which is why e-learning appears to be the better solution in the case of finances. Alongside there being direct benefits of e-learning solely for students, there are also environmental benefits. Paper is something that is also always used in the traditional education system. Students and teachers need paper to print assignments and tests on. Students need paper to write essays and complete those assignments on. Which brings up a major difference between traditional learning and e-learning. E-learning does not use paper. Everything is done using technology. By not using paper, e-learning helps eliminate the amount of paper waste consumed by humans every day, and in general assists in help saving planet. According to H.M. Ravoca, political scientist, e-learning can reduce bureaucracy, and it can even make a difference in environmental protection by reducing the number of trees cut. Though the environment is not the only area outside of student learning capabilities where e-learning is beneficial, e-learning also provides economic benefits. The more e-learning is used, the more jobs will be needed to program design and monitor its online learning platforms, which will ultimately lead to an increase in the percent of available jobs in the IT sector. According to H.M. Ravoca, a major increase in the utilization of technologies that are at the basis of e-learning will automatically lead to an increase in the demand for educational technologies and an increase in the economic development of the IT sector. In addition to making an impact on the environment and economy, e-learning makes an impact on the world. E-learning offers a way for people to study and learn things about the world that they never knew. Just by taking an online environmental course, people can learn all about the environment, the good and harmful impacts humans have on it, while also providing solutions to the issue. E-learning profits an entire generation because textbooks, notebooks, and journals can fade over time, being that they were created with paper and can be torn, stained, have pages glued together, burnt, lost, or stolen. The exact same cannot happen to e-learning because it uses technology and internet services rather than paper and books. Author Hannah Abiaka once said, "Even the best pages end in dust." Even the best books will one day return back to the dust they came from. If that's the case, should not society move on to another source of information? Perhaps the answer is the internet and e-learning because the future generations need something they can continuously rely on. as a source of learning materials. If all the books of the past that provide the most information were somehow lost, what would be left? If everything was online, books, textbooks, workbooks, the next generations will have something on which they continuously can rely. Considering the numerous pieces of evidence concerning e-learning, it can be declared that e-learning is the most beneficial form of learning. Nevertheless, others continue to differ based on their own personal misconceptions about e-learning and its challenges. One of these perceived challenges is that e-learning is not the most accessible to people who do not own an electronic device or have access to the internet. But there are organizations such as Computers with Causes who distribute technological devices such as computers to schools, libraries, children in foster care, and shelters. Another reason people disagree is the health effects caused by an increased use of technology, such as worsened eyesight, which can lead to the wearing of glasses, and a lesser amount of sleep. According to an article entitled "Lack of Sleep is Associated with Internet Use," evidence from conducting studies and experiments prove that a lack of sleep is associated with internet use, because people tend to use it for leisure. Now, if the amount of time spent online was combined with the average time spent using the internet for leisure, it will showcase an overall increase in exposure and use of the internet in a day. Furthermore, this increase will also lead to an increase in the lack of sleep. The average human is encouraged to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day. Young students engaging in e-learning along with their typical internet time may not achieve the encouraged amount of sleep because their increased internet usage has caused an increase in their lack of sleep. An additional health effect of increasing the use of online learning and increased exposure to technology is disruption of the human circadian rhythms. Natural human circadian rhythms are important for the human body to function because they influence sleep-wake cycles, body temperature, and additional bodily functions. There is evidence from an article by Margaret E. Adams that, moreover, limiting the time of light exposure from electronic screen brightness can disturb circadian rhythms. Basically, if a student spends too much time on their screens, the increased exposure to brightness can affect their bodily health. Similarly, there are also mental health effects to using more technology than average for the purpose of e-learning. One mental health effect is a decrease in productivity in actions. Internet use for leisure diminishes productivity at work, resulting in a huge economic burden. Others do not support e-learning because of the issue related to cheating. In a classroom setting, students are forced to perform tasks and take assessments without access to any cheating materials. Yes, students could cheat off of one another, but in the traditional classroom setting, they cannot cheat from the internet. Access to the internet also allows access to numerous websites that provide answers to academic questions, and occasionally give full answer keys to assessments and worksheets. Now, many teens agree that cheating is morally wrong. According to an article entitled "The Role of Emotions and Attitudes in Causing and Preventing Cheating," some teens face self-conscious emotions for cheating, such as a tendency to feel guilt or shame and empathy for others. However, when incorporating more usage of technology necessary through e-learning, the temptation to cheat increases because there are no traditional classroom setting monitors to prevent students from cheating. But the lack of traditional monitors in the form of teachers does not equate to there being no monitors at all. There are monitors online. Some e-learning websites cannot allow students to open other web pages and take an online test or quiz. Often in certain schools using e-learning platforms, teachers can monitor what students do on their laptops from another location, overall limiting the ability to cheat. In addition to cheating, another reason people tend to disagree with the promotion of e-learning as beneficial rather than traditional learning is because it simply involves the internet, which holds many distractions for young people. When students are given the leisure to do assignments on their own terms, they may find themselves surfing the web and doing other things not related to their academic work, and even forget to complete those assignments. The modern attention span of a human is typically compared to that of a goldfish. The average attention span for the notoriously ill-focused goldfish is 9 seconds. Today, people generally lose concentration after 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was 8 seconds. Due to this evidence showing how the human attention span has decreased and the chances of being easily distracted have increased, some fear that the internet will be the biggest distraction for learning, but it is not. Some accuse it of being so and blame it for this generation's low attention span. Yet, if truth be told, there have been many more distractions before the birth of the internet. At one point, books would have been referred to as distractions because too much reading prevented students from doing other things, like going outside and playing with friends. At another point, playing with toys outside would have been deemed a distraction because it preoccupied students from pursuing more ambitious activities, such as studying or reading books. The internet is only perceived as a distraction due to the perception that it encourages more interaction entertainment rather than ambitious activities. With regard to the comparisons mentioned, blaming the internet for being a distraction is a continuation on a pattern of excuses for various activities. And despite there being numerous disadvantages and challenges for students using e-learning compared to traditional learning, there are also challenges and disadvantages for teachers attempting to teach on the e-learning platform. Being that e-learning is still a fairly new concept, only recently becoming popular due to the digital age, there are some who still have trouble learning how to use basic technology, which ultimately affects their learning process and skills. Some teachers find themselves spending more time teaching students how to use technology and the internet rather than simply teaching them materials. Evidence of this is shown through multiple studies conducted by Sam Houston State University researcher Chi-Sing Lee, which affirmed that teachers find themselves spending more time in technological training than teaching the content material of the course. The difficulty of learning how to use technology properly, rather than simply learning educational materials, can cause students to feel discontentment. Students who require more personal assistance may consider online interaction inadequate and feel frustrated. Also, students who are more dependent and need extra guidance when completing assignments may find e-learning stressful, since they do not have a physical person to directly guide them through everything. There are also students who are less independent, who may feel overwhelmed with the immense amount of resources. Furthermore, if students are not naturally motivated to complete tasks and invoke their own form of self-discipline, e-learning may not be for them. But that does not mean that e-learning is not beneficial. In the beginning, these students may have the motivation to complete assignments, but without that constant motivation, their assignments and overall learning can remain incomplete. There is substantial evidence that displays how e-learning can be difficult for students with a lack of motivation. According to the same study conducted by Chi-Sing Lee, students who have trouble with motivation and self-discipline may sign up for an online class but disappear halfway through the course. They may at first feel motivation to complete their assignment, but without the natural tendency to learn, they may ultimately stop with the learning, misleading them to believe that e-learning is not the most beneficial for everyone. But the solution to this issue is simply studying. There are many books and videos that explain various aspects of technology and using the internet. By simply studying these materials, teachers and students will both be able to learn how to properly use e-learning. So, numerous pieces of evidence support the argument that e-learning is more beneficial and accessible than traditional learning, ranging from the individual benefits to economic and environmental benefits. Assuming that e-learning continues to have a steady increase in its popularity as it is now, for the next couple of decades, more jobs will become available in the IT sector, which ultimately benefits the people and the economy. But with the understanding that, like anything new, there are some downfalls to e-learning. A drawback is that it's not always the easiest nor the most natural way for some students to learn. Some students naturally learn better in a classroom setting, or with textbooks rather than e-books. But their inability to learn does not rule out e-learning as being the most beneficial. It simply discloses that e-learning is not for every person. But in spite of that, for students in cases such as the one involving the young autistic boy, incapable of learning inside school environment, e-learning manifests as the most beneficial. Reflecting on the same story, if that boy did not have the resources such as e-learning, he would not be able to improve in the area in which he wanted to improve. He wanted to learn, he wanted to go to school, but he couldn't because the classroom was not set up to fit his needs. He preferred learning in a smaller environment. And if the school cannot provide a smaller environment, what is he to do? Is it his fault that his grades reflect that? Is it his fault that he cannot learn those materials? Which is why e-learning was the best solution for him. And thanks to his mom, he was able to improve in all the areas in which he was originally struggling, all the areas he could not learn in because of his classroom environment. Which is why I believe there should be an increase in the amount of e-learning, because e-learning provides access to an education for those of us who do not have access to an education, such as the students in the Indiana I mentioned in the North Indian Himalayan mountains who have to travel long roads to simply get to school. But with e-learning, they'll be able to go to school at home instead of having to travel dangerous highways to get to an education. The same goes if you want to learn a new subject, or revisit a subject you once knew but forgot, or improve an area in which you're currently learning. I currently use e-learning in classes where I'm learning a subject and not able to understand it fully. By using websites such as Khan Academy or iExcel, I am able to improve an area in which I am struggling, which is another reason I believe there should be an increase in e-learning. Also in the case of finances, if we're being honest, education is really expensive, especially when it goes to colleges and universities. So by using e-learning, you can limit the expense of finances, because some e-learning schools are cheaper. actually go to a traditional classroom. Another reason that e-learning is more beneficial is because it affects the whole world. It affects the environment because paper, something used by humans every day, which is wasted every day. But by using e-learning, we're able to use technology, which eliminates paper, causing an increase in saving the planet by limiting paper. And lastly, I believe that e-learning should be increased because it provides more jobs in the economy. As said before by H.M. Moka, e-learning will increase the amount of available jobs in the IT sector. And by increasing the amount of those jobs, we're able to overall increase the amount of jobs for people in the economy, which will help benefit the future. So in reference to all of the evidence I introduced, I believe there should be an increase in e-learning because it affects us all. Thanks.
Thank you, Jada. So we'll go ahead and move into the question and answer portion of the presentation. So judges, as y'all have questions for Jada, you'll have to pass the mic and ask her.
Okay, boy, that's loud. First of all, you did really great with the tone and just the delivery of it, okay? I would say, you're getting kind of the teacher side of me here, okay? So, just making a little bit more eye contact with your audience. What you did at the end was fantastic, just walking around and kind of talking to us about concluding your presentation, so that was great. You talked a little bit about, at the end, students who are not maybe motivated, right, that may not be the best platform for them, but then you kind of said that maybe they just need to study more. So do you think that e-learning is a platform that can work for everybody or only certain individuals?
I think that with time, e-learning can be more beneficial for more people because as we see, we're moving more to a digital age where everything is online and people are getting more used to doing things online. So students and people who are not currently motivated to do things using e-learning, it may be because they're not yet completely immersed into this online culture. And eventually I feel we'll get to the point where everybody is immersed in it, and that e-learning will be more beneficial for everyone. So at this point, it may be difficult for some, so they may have to actually study or try harder to be able to learn an e-learning classroom. But I feel that in the future, e-learning will be the most beneficial solution.
Okay, and then as far as, and you guys don't have questions, just keep going. What's your thought on the collaboration piece? Okay, because in a traditional classroom setting, a student would be able to collaborate with their classmates. And you talked about Khan Academy and IXL as being the platforms. So how do you make up for that piece on the collaboration side with other people?
Well, I understand what you're saying about the collaboration in traditional classroom. I enjoy working on projects and projects with my classmates. E-learning would partially eliminate that. There are still ways that people can interact with each other online, such as texting, FaceTiming in the classroom. Some e-learning sites provide a way for you to FaceTime a teacher who's helping you with it. So I feel it's not completely eliminate the face-to-face instruction, but it does change it.
I want to congratulate you too, actually. I hope half of my students exactly give the presentation you did give today at college level. And I'm a professor at Kennesaw State, and I do teach online and campus the same course. And some of my students, if I didn't introduce myself in the beginning, some of my students think, hey, hi, Professor, instead of Dr. Kalani, hi, Mr. Kalani, because they don't even know I'm actually a woman, not a man. Due to my weird name, right? And I want to ask you that question that you said that is more beneficial. More than the beneficial, do you think that the convenience, maybe some of the students are taking online classes due to the convenience, not more beneficial? And what are your thoughts about that? More convenient, because there are a couple times that you mentioned that it's more beneficial to the students than maybe could be the more convenience to the students. What do you feel about the convenience versus beneficial?
Is that the convenience?
Yeah, convenient. Like convenient to take that course instead of coming on campus, they can take it anywhere in the world. Like I had a student taking it in Puerto Rico. And unfortunately the hurricane hit and he had to drop the class because there is no internet connection anymore for the country to be provided within the, I believe it took more than 3 weeks. So, well, so far the convenience you were talking about versus the beneficial. I want to know the differences between online e-learning and when it comes to play a role in taking the courses online versus traditional classroom setting.
Well, there are many benefits to e-learning in the cases with the child not have access to it because of the no internet in the neighborhood. There are places that help with that. I believe that in the future, such as the organization I mentioned, Computers with a Cause, to provide computers and technology to students around the world who don't have access to technological device. I believe there may be organizations that can provide internet, and we don't ever get to the point where internet is like a global thing everywhere. It's not just in one location. Because we don't really know what the future has in store, and I kind of rely on how e-learning, as mentioned earlier, going to the digital age is where e-learning becomes more beneficial. So maybe right now it may not be convenient for every single person around the globe, but eventually it should grow to an area where it is, such as it grows, if it continues to increase, it benefits the IT sector by providing more jobs in the economy. And if it continues to increase, we continue to eliminate paper, which overall helps the planet. So I believe if it continues to increase, in one way or another, we'll overall really help each other learn in their own way, their own pace, at their own time.
Hey Jada, great job. You did an amazing job with that presentation. My question for you is, for the students in traditional learning who require extra help or time with the teacher after school, how do you propose that for e-learning? How does that change compared to face-to-face time for extra help with the teacher that's teaching the class?
I believe it's still very easy for students to communicate with their teacher for extra help or after class. Because as mentioned before, there are still ways for students to talk to teachers online through face-to-face instructions, such as video calls or messaging. And if they need even more help, they can go, the broad chance they can still meet their teacher if they need to at another location. So I believe that it doesn't eliminate the face-to-face instruction of having extra help from a teacher, but it does, there's still a way to do that.
So Jada, have you taken any online classes?
Not online classes, I mainly use e-learning platform like Khan Academy and Speech Before to help me in areas where I'm struggling, and it has been very helpful, especially in the physics class, to go back and review topics and teach discuss that I didn't fully understand at the time.
My quick question is that, do you believe the fact that the students are taking online classes because it's easier? Or, because that's some of the impression that I receive from my students that, oh yeah, if I take it online and, it's an open book, and, they don't need to, come and check on me what I do, and basically I can work on my own, on time. What do you feel about it? Maybe do you think that the students are taking it online classes because they think their mindset is because it's easier?
They may think it's easier, but I personally believe that e-learning makes yourself kind of hard to depend on the students, such as the student's not motivated to do the work. It may become more difficult for them, but it also encourages time management skills. Because if you know how to properly use your time, you can successfully master e-learning just like in a traditional classroom, which is where the two become kind of equals. Because in a traditional classroom, you have to know to do your homework, or in the end, you basically penalty for not doing your homework. Same thing with e-learning. If you want to cheat on the course or do anything else, the penalty comes back in the end. So those who think it is easier, it may be perceived as easier. In some cases, it is depending on the student's motivation to actually do their assignments. It is easier.
Because of time deadlines, so some of the students, they feel like, oh, because it's 24/7, I can't take it anytime I want it, and all of a sudden the exam expires. Oh, oops, I just missed my test. So do you believe that self-motivation is the key factor when you're taking it online classes?
Yes, I do.
I want you to do your research after you actually enroll in fully online class. Not the e-platform, e-learning platform is totally different than when you're taking a fully online course. And from a real instructor, because sometimes they feel that we are not real. Actually, they are the same teachers that teaches on campus. and we're the same person that teaches it online, and of course we don't have face-to-face interactions with them. So, and my other question is this. There is a now at the universities, if you're accreditation purposes, and if it's a fully online program, sometimes they don't value as much as the traditional classroom setting degree that you get from. How do you feel about it?
That they don't.
They're fully online, like if you're taking your master's degree fully online, your doctorate degree fully online, your bachelor degree is fully online. You never step in the campus and you just finish a degree from the online platform, universities. And some of the universities, they don't even accept those degrees in order to be qualified to be a professor at that university. How do you feel about that disadvantage of e-learning?
Could you rephrase your question?
Sure, I may be confusing. There are some universities out there, they're fully online, okay? DeVry, I don't want to give you a few names, but they're not valuable as some of the universities. Some of the traditional universities, they don't accept the degrees. They don't necessarily, for the accreditation purposes, they don't accept those degrees. And so some of the, the professors coming from those schools, they are not finding a job in the traditional state universities, for example. How do you feel about how we're going to fight with that? If the e-learning is more beneficial than traditional learning, how are we going to, in the future, how are we going to fight with that accreditation purposes? And then we're going to make sure that universities are accepting those kind of degrees as well in their
Well, I feel that the universities where people take their full online programs, bachelor's, master's, software, and not being accepted jobs in the other fields because they took an online course is more a problem of our society not completely embracing the learning culture, because we are in a digital age, but I guess not everybody has fully immersed into that digital age, which I feel that in the future, as we continue to grow and more people understand that e-learning is similar to traditional learning, and that people can learn the same things there that they can in traditional school, then we'll get to the point where people can get their degrees online and still get jobs anywhere.
Not a question, but your answers were great, and you have a great presence about you when you speak, so congratulations to you.
All right, well, thank you, judges.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, there you go.
What are you planning to do? What are you planning to do?
okay, I'm making fun of myself. But what are you planning? Like, what do you want to be? Where are you going? Which university you're going next?
Right now, I'm planning to attend Mercer University. My major
Excellent.
is set on biochemistry, but that could change because I am interested in a lot of areas. I love international studies and I love systems.
Excellent. You have a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. I'm very impressed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, judges, for your questions. Thank you, Jada, for your responses. So let's give Jada one more round of applause. And we'll take another break before our next presentation. So, thank you.
Great job, Jada. I think it worked out really well. Like, you did a really good job. It felt very
It was. Yeah, so good job. I couldn't even get a clap. I know, I did.